Today we are in the pretty Scottish coastal town of Leven in Fife, famous for its beach and for a very, very bold claim. And that was the bold claim to which we were referring. The best scones in Fife, we will be the judge of that. But first, we're going to go down to the beach. This is Leven Beach, which admittedly is not looking at its best. There's been a lot of storms recently, so there's quite a lot of seaweed and stuff washed up, so it's not looking very pleasant, probably not smelling very pleasant, but it's still one of De Niro's favourite places. Other places have nice facilities on their seashore. We've got QuickFit. QuickFit, for people who aren't from the UK, and I keep forgetting a lot of our viewers aren't, is a tyre place where you get tyres and bits and pieces for your car. I spy a greyhound. There is our scenic view of the oil rigs. There used to be two, but now there's only one. And over there there's a tanker ship, and over there there's an even bigger beach at Ely that we're going to take you to one day. That is cracking, because Leven Beach is very popular. The one over there is usually very quiet. Unfortunately, there were too many people about on the beach to let De Niro have a run about, but for all you zoomy lovers, this was a few weeks ago. That is quite an impressive piece of driftwood, unfortunately also very heavy. Out in front of us, over there, that is Lower Largo, which you can see on our Robinson Crusoe episode, and behind that, the big hill, is Largo Law, that one day we're going to climb when we're feeling a lot fitter.
I do not want to run up any hills. I hate hills.
That's not entirely true. She likes hills that go down the way. Oh, there's the Beachcomber Family Amusements, where we've never actually been. And in front of us, if you can control your excitement, is the Action Zone. So now we're heading along to the cafe that made the bold claim we were speaking about earlier. There are always lots of dogs here. De Niro is not interested in them, but they are often interested in De Niro. He's now running away from the small ones. You never know. Sometimes he's scared of little dogs, and sometimes he's like, play with me, play with me, play with me. His best friend at his doggy playgroup is a tiny little Yorkshire Terrier. We'll try and find some video of that his dog walker sent us, because it is hilarious. Leven Prom is quite a nice place for a walk, but unfortunately when we had that massive storm a few months ago, it destroyed a lot of it, so a lot of the prom is no longer there, so hopefully they'll get that fixed at some point. But Fife Council, not the fastest at getting things done. We're not going to do anything brave paddling through the water. We're going to go up and round the long way, and the flight of stairs that we were going to go up has also gone. Right, we'll have to find a way across the river. I told you Fife Council didn't do much. How many men sitting in a van doing nothing? Bex is going the long way. Me and the dog are going to jump the river, because the dog can't climb walls. Of course, this will be where I jump and he stands still, and one of us ends up getting very wet feet, and it's probably going to be me. Right, De Niro, are we going to jump this river? Are you going to be a good boy, or are you going to, I've got wet feet, yay! He just paddled his way through it. I'm not allowed to jump this until Bex can film it, because she wants hilarious footage of me getting very, very wet. It is quite wide. I can't see the narrowest bit. Scotland on a shoestring with a very wet shoestrings. I've used that joke before, but you probably haven't seen it, so it's new. And that gulag looking caravan site up there is where Bex and I saw out lockdown when COVID was on the go. Because she worked for the NHS and I was a key worker, we bought a caravan up there, and we spent lockdown basically on holiday in a caravan with visits to the beach every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. There's a little brown dog running about, and De Niro is going a bit hyper. Silly doggy. He just wants to play, but he's A, quite big, and B, quite fast, and C, we're not entirely sure how well trained he is, so no, De Niro, you're staying on the lead. There's a little dachshund over there that wants to come and talk to De Niro as well, but its mummy has said don't go and talk to the big scary doggy. It's not a bad wee beach, I suppose, especially if you're a dog. There's a little friend for De Niro. Nope, not interested in De Niro. So we're now leaving the beach behind, Leven Beach, and we're going to head up into Silverburn Park, which I think you'll quite like. There's quite a lot of history there, and it's also very pretty. One of the many golf courses that are on this part of the coast. There's 3 or 4 just basically in a row. There's one there, one here, And out there's a big new one called Dunbarney Links that is really quite impressive. It's a very, very nice looking place. I know nothing about golf and even less about golf courses, but it does look quite pretty and it's a nice place to run through when they're not golfing. Although it's all gone on that side, that there is the route of the old Fife Coastal Railway that we keep seeing little bits and pieces of on our adventures. As you know, we do like a wee bit of mudlarking and bottle digging, and this river, this little stream here, is always really good for bits of stuff. You can see all the pottery in there, and I've just seen what looks like a bottle. Now, is it an old bottle? Let's find out. No, is the answer to that. There's a minute of your life that you're never getting back. It's a bit cold at this time of year to go rummaging about, but there are bits of spongeware and bits of broken glass and stuff down there. There is definitely an old tip here somewhere. Now, we think we know why there's so much 1940s-ish pottery and glass in this little stream, and for that what we need is a wee bit of history. The Polish 1st Parachute Brigade was formed in Leven on the 23rd of September 1941, and it was made up of volunteers, people who'd escaped Poland and came across to the UK looking to get a chance to fight back. Their initial purpose was supposed to be to go and reinforce an uprising in Poland that never happened, and political machinations in the background meant they were never allowed to do what they were supposed to do. Joseph Stalin had a big stay in that. He didn't want a free Poland. I'm guessing that Stalin didn't want a brigade of highly trained, highly motivated Polish soldiers in Poland at the end of the Second World War, because that might have made it a bit more difficult for him to move in and take over. If you go to Largo House, which you will be one day, you can still see the base of that parachute training tower where they actually did their training. It's getting really cold, my brain's stopped working, so that took about 10 takes as well. I hope I can edit it together into something that makes some sort of sense. So these are the surviving buildings of Silverburn Park, and this is where the Polish troops that were stationed in Leven and getting trained to be paratroops were trained and billeted and stuff, and that's why, as we said earlier, that bit back there is full of 1940s pottery, because their dump must be down there somewhere.
Right, come on, I smell coffee. Over here.
And perhaps a scone?
I hope so. I hope the scones today, given that we've travelled far and wide for this claim.
Well, but if they claim it's the best scone in Fife, then say we don't have any scones today, do we have to believe them?
No, I'll just cry.
We were offered the opportunity to dig here on the flax field, which is just over there, to see if we could find any interesting history. And while we were digging it, the gentleman that sort of runs this, the head honcho, came across and told us that during the war, this obviously was a training base, and quite recently they've been digging live hand grenades out of the ground, so we didn't dig too deep. That is Silverburn's flax mill, which is being renovated yet again. So far it's been a flax mill, it's been billets for Polish soldiers, and it's been a petting zoo, and it's been a ruin. Now it's going to be a sort of art space and a facility that the local community can enjoy. They're spending a lot of money and doing a lot of work, and we can't wait to see it when it's finished. And considering it was all in line to be demolished, it's nice to see it's getting yet another lease of life. And that over there is the old workers' cottages from the flax mill, which is now the hole-in-the-wall cafe where they claim the best scone in Fife. Bex is really excited to find out if that's true or not, because even if it's only an average scone, she does like a wee scone. Facilities in Silverburn get improved every time that we're here. When we first started coming, there was really nothing, and now they've got these really cool sort of pod things, these little Scandinavian type holiday lets that you can have. They've also got a space where you can park your camper van. So if you're coming with a camper van, there's a proper parking place for you to park up and spend the night. Explore the grounds and take a walk into Leven, or better, take a walk into Lower Largo. Lower Largo is much nicer than Leven. And behind that wall there is a garden. That is the walled garden, believe it or not. You probably figured that out. It's a garden behind a wall. And adding to the wee community vibe, here is the book cabinet, where you can take a book and leave them a wee donation. And if you don't have any cash, you can do it by QR code. Now, we do always advise you, if you see a QR code on something like that, never ever scan it, because you don't know exactly where it's going to take you. Do they have the best scone in Fife then?
Well, they've got scones. We'll have to decide if it's the best one in Fife once we taste it.
I think Bex is best placed to judge that. So that is the camper van field over there, and you get some nice views of the golf course and the sea. And this used to be a community garden where they grew things you could go and help yourself, but it's not anymore. I think it's probably because it's winter, there's not much growing, but that building at the back is again new, I think. And over that fence there in the high security area is probably the neatest set of allotments in the UK. That's where people grow vegetables. It's another place where men go to hide from their wives. All the doggies want to say hello to De Niro, and De Niro is just like, nope, not interested. Where's my mummy? And here's a nice little covered bench where Bex will sit in judgment of scones. De Niro has figured out there might be food in these little bags. Excuse me, whatever you're having, can I have some? Bex got De Niro a biscuit. De Niro is now eating the biscuit and anything else he can find.
I got another biscuit. 2 biscuits. Right, let's have a look at this scone. Ooh.
Oh, that's quite a big scone and it's exploded.
Falling to bits. Nice crunchy top.
Is it the best scone in Fife, or is it just the best scone you've had today?
I've not decided yet.
The scones are just about impossible to eat. They've got half a pot of jam per scone and they're breaking up, but I'm sure they're very nice. De Niro, that is not for you. I think the sensory garden is not looking at its best, but then it is the middle of winter. Lots of nice seating areas, lots of nice wee quiet bits to sit down and have the coffee that you bought from the wee shop. Is it the best scone in Fife? Don't know. We'll have to do a lot more experimentation to find out. Yeah, so if you are in the area and the beach is not your thing, then Silverburn Park may well be. Is it just me, or does that ferry look a little bit cold? And there's a list of the facilities, from nothing at all in a ruin to a campsite and a cafe and nice walks and car park and toilets and stuff. And it's a 3-star small holiday park. And that is a really nice house, the old gatehouse to the estate. We're now going to go and find the old house, or rather find what's left of the old house. It's alright, De Niro, we can edit this bit out. De Niro was not at all keen on going for walks when we first got him. If it was cold or wet or muddy or the day had a Y in it, he wasn't keen on going out. And now look at him go. He's like, yes, yes, where's my collar? Where's my coat? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? And down there in the vegetation and the mist is Silverburn House, which is unfortunately a bit of a ruin. Well, actually, it's quite a lot of a ruin. It's one of these things that they would love to fix up, but it would cost, one would imagine, millions. It's definitely another, oh what a shame, because not that long ago it would have still had the roof on and it would have been dry inside and it would have been savable, but now, as you can see, over there it's all caving in as you watch, and down there the roof's gone completely. What a wee shame. That would have been an amazing building back when it was in use, a rich man's house. It's so far gone, I don't think it's even worth saying we're going to try and get inside for a wee look. At some point somebody's put shutters on all the windows to keep it secure and keep it safe, and yeah, unfortunately nature has had other ideas. And as you can see from here, it's all fenced off, and as you know, we don't do climbing fences because, well, the reward would be getting in there. It's probably quite dangerous and not very interesting. It's another quite nice but quite chilly day, and there is another golf course. We do have quite a lot of golf courses in this area. You're outnumbered, De Niro. Do you know what this is? If not, we'll tell you. It's a trig point, a trigonometry point that was used to make maps, because you'd put your theodolite on the top there and measure distance and bearing to the next one. They're usually on top of hills, but this one isn't, which is strange. I suppose it's coastal, so you can still see quite a long way. It's one of those interesting hobbies that some people have. They go trig bagging. They go out and they go in search of trig points. As I say, they're usually on the top of big hills, but that's a really easy one. You can just walk along a flat path to get to that one. Down on that side, yeah, it's another golf course, and over there is the caravan site we walked past a bit earlier, and down there is the action zone. But Bex is not interested in any of that because she's decided it's time to go to the charity shops, so that's where we're going next. And over there we are back at the action zone. I'm probably making it sound a lot more exciting than it actually is. Say what you want about golf, and I often do. They are always very, very pretty spaces and very well kept, especially like this where public access is permitted. There's paths across the end, they don't close the whole thing off. So it's yeah, it's quite good. The golfers and the tourists get along just fine for the most part. Although it was quite funny when we lived in that caravan site, how many golfers couldn't actually make their balls go in a straight line. A number of times we're sitting there and it'd be a dunk, as a golf ball hit the roof of our caravan, and we're not even in like the firing line, we're way off. So who remembers when we went to Lookers and Guardbridge to meet the Scotty dogs? Well, this was Leven's Scotty dog, and at the end of the trail they were all auctioned off, but this one was bought by the people of Leven and put back where he belongs, on the front, looking out to sea. So this is in his original position, his little happy smiley face with his rather diseased looking tongue.
His name is Postcards from Fife, but his friends call him Posty.
Hello, Posty. He does have quite an impressive view out to sea, does old Posty. Ah yeah, Posty. These things were all so well detailed. I'd like to know where all the other ones have ended up. Like the university usually buy one, and pubs and clubs buy them. They do quite well. They make quite a lot of money for charity, which is kind of the whole point. This is about take 5. I cannot get the words right, so here we go. After 3. 1, 2, 3. So there you are, that is the Levenmouth Scotty. We're now going to head back and put De Niro in Daisy before Bex and I head in to look at the charity shops of Leven. Yay! Only took me 5 attempts to say that. And our next wee port of call is Leven's Festival Gardens, which is quite nice. It's very nice in the summer, obviously. We're bringing you here at the wrong time of year because all the flower beds are just dirt beds. But this is a really nice little park, and again, a nice place to sit in the summer. And it's surrounded by some amazing looking houses. Leven does have some lovely properties, as they say on property programmes. I've got no idea what the story of the little cart there is, but it's quite a nice object, isn't it? It's quite a pretty thing, and a point of interest in the park. The building behind me is the Beachcomber Amusements, that I'm not going to film anywhere near because it's full of children, but that's one of the places in Leven where apparently you get the best burger and chips. So we've never tried it, but it's supposed to be phenomenal. So one day, in the name of research for you guys, we'll have to go into the Beachcomber and have burger and chips. And while I've been off doing that little bit that you saw earlier about the Polish Parachute Brigade, Bex has taken De Niro back to the van, and oh, I wonder where she might be. This is Leven High Street, which is, as Bex has just said, a bit grim. It's a shame. It used to be such a vibrant community, and now, yeah, there's a coffee shop, not very many charity shops that aren't usually very good, and lots of just like, well, junk mainly. Okay, let's have a little look in Chest, Heart and Stroke, Scotland.
Let's look at the rabbit bells. They are so cute.
The rabbit bells are quite cute.
Or the Bambi jug.
Or the Bambi jug. This is full of absolute treasure.
I want the Bambi jug and the rabbit bells.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
He's quite cool. A cow milk jug, a koala bear, everything you could possibly ever want, especially if you want a beer mug from Oberbayern. And a duck. And a racing car. This is actually quite a good charity shop. Oh, that's quite cute as well, if you like that sort of thing, which to be fair, you probably don't. Been various collections of stuff that people, how many cow milk jugs do you think you can have in one shop? How about 3? So that is spectacular.
Isn't it just?
Spectacular.
A lot of work's gone into that.
Cancer research, if it's open, which it might actually not be, because today is Sunday. It doesn't look like it's very open, is it? No. Closed for lunch, reopening at 13:35. Oh well, the last hope for Leven's charity shops, it's the Salvation Army. An impressive collection of stuffed things in the window. What on earth is that? It's quite cool. Oh, and that. They have got some quite interesting things. Oh, it's closed as well, which is a shame because they've got a collection of piggins, and I think Bex should start collecting piggins just because they're always in charity shops.
Collection of what?
Piggins.
Piggins.
Piggins, there's piggins. Sorry, I may have just said oh wow a bit too loud. They've also got some pocket dragons. I like pocket dragons, make of that what you will, but sometimes you get some really cheap ones in charity shops that are actually really expensive, because some of the older ones are really, really collectible. It is just kind of grim, isn't it? It's
a shame, isn't it? Because there's nothing really to bring you here.
Well, there's a Greg's. There are no surprises where we're going next. Oh, I've got a little yappy friend. Lucky De Niro is back in the van having a wee lie down. Now this is another place that I must admit I've never been to before. Driven past it hundreds of times and never actually stopped, so let's go and see what we can find. And the first thing that we find is that the sun and a little bit of mist is giving it some proper old-fashioned atmosphere. You can't beat a wee bit of atmosphere. This is sort of the middle-aged bit, that's the newer bit over there and along here. And then this looks like it might be early 1900s-ish. Let's go for a wee look. You can spend forever walking around here reading all the inscriptions. There's Mr. Scott, who was a marine engineer, and there's somebody who was born in Caithness who's ended up in Leven. That's quite a long way from home. It's quite interesting. These stones are all early 1900s-ish, but look at them, they're all quite big and quite impressive. This must have been a very affluent place, even after the shipbuilding had died and the coal mining had gone. Well, this one's quite interesting. Well, it's quite interesting for me. The able seaman Henry Blythe, who was lost from HMS Royal Oak. Now, one day we are going to go back to Orkney and we'll tell you the story of HMS Royal Oak and the story of U-boat commander Gunther Preen. You can probably guess how the two of those are linked. And stuck over in the corner is this Commonwealth War Grave. Let's go and see who this chap was. And it's usually a chap. It's TPW Dawson, Royal Army Service Corps from the Second World War. So, hello, Driver Dawson. I've had this sort of lurgy thing now for about 4 weeks, so I do apologise, my voice is a bit croaky and there's several edits of coughs getting taken out of these videos. Quite liking this, it's very higgledy and piggledy and lots of tombstones that have fallen over. I suppose that's the disadvantages of building your graveyard on a slope. But over here we're heading towards what I think is the older part, so let's go and see what we can see. And over in another wee corner is another Commonwealth headstone. This is a darker stone, a sort of granite stone, as opposed to the usual white limestone. That is Private Drummond of the Black Watch from the First World War. So hello, Private Drummond. And another war grave. This is to Trooper Gumming of the 1st Fife and Forfar Yeomanry. Forfar being a town a little bit north of here, so they were sort of amalgamated into one battalion or one regiment of the British Army in the Second World War. He died in April 1944, aged 21. And with much coughing and heavy breathing that I've edited out, I'm now at the top of the hill where the oldest part of the graveyard is. So let's go and look at the most interesting bit. With this nice wee stone, we're back to 1829, so we're heading back. Let's see if we can get into the 1700s. Looking for unusual inscriptions. This is in memory of Christian Horn, who died 1936, blah blah blah. For many years, the devoted friend of the family of F.T. Wallace, Royal Bank House. So I wonder if it was the family of F.T. Wallace that actually put that stone up. And I say up, but now it's lying down. There is a little building in there. I don't know if it was like a private family crypt or a mort house. Remember, a mort house is where they put dead bodies to decompose until they were no use to the body snatchers. So we'll see if we can find out. We can't get in there, but there are some quite interesting looking gravestones fenced off behind this rather attractive fence. Over in this old corner, I think we might have a winner if I'm reading this properly. I think that says sacred to the memory of Elizabeth Melville, who died 9th of April 1710, aged something that's gone. So 1710, if that's right, if that does say 1710 there. That's probably the oldest gravestone in the place, but let's keep looking. It's quite funny, Bex and I talk about trying to grow the channel just as a hobby, as something to do, but I think we could probably do things that would get more views, but I don't think we could do things I would enjoy as much as I enjoy walking about old graveyards. So if it's okay with you guys, we're going to keep walking about old graveyards and charity shops, obviously. We love these places. We've got hours and hours of extra footage of me walking about graveyards talking to myself. If you'd like to see some of that, check out our other channel. Yes, we've got a second channel. It's called Places for the Past, and it's not going to have a regular update schedule or anything. It's just going to be when we have extra footage of graveyards, we'll put wee episodes together for all you hardcore graveyard fans. That's a real shame that that one is so far gone. It's not really legible. You can still see some very ornate script on it. I think that's probably quite an old gravestone, obviously. Duh. And right next to it, anything that's in the 1700s now is our target for interestingness, and this is a guy called Arthur, born October 26, 1766, died November the 14th, 1771, so he qualifies as interesting. The sun is rising in the sky, the mist is burning away, and the atmosphere is only getting more atmospheric. This over here is the greatest epitaph I've ever seen. This is the memory of James Wiley, the herd laddie, and he was world drafts champion. Drafts is that you play at a chessboard. I think it's called checkers in other countries. You'll have to excuse me, my international knowledge is not great. There you are. 40 years, the world drafts champion. I wonder where the world drafts championship were held. And that is it for Scone Cemetery. We'll just have a quick look at this last rather grand stone over here, because it kind of sticks out for being a wee bitty different. It's a reverend who died in 1866, so it was put up by his congregation. And all I've got to do now is reverse Daisy out of that little parking bit over there without knocking over anybody's headstone. Wish me luck. And if you want to know how you identify Daisy, she's the one with the greyhound in the back and the crochet in the front. This is how Bex whiles away the hours while we're driving. She sits and crochets. And it's amazing the things you can come up with on the motorway.
Ooh! Look at this. My goodness. That's a bit bright. Will I make something for you with that?
Underpants. Can you knit me some underpants?
If you want woolly rainbow coloured underpants, then yes, I can.
Possibly not. So are you going to show us your project on the go this time instead of just doing it and showing me it when it's finished?
I'll show you what I'm going to make with this one, because I've actually no idea what I'm going to make with this one. That's what I had to buy to make the postage free. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that either. Never had too much wool.
Although she is putting that theory to the test, she has got quite a lot of wool. It's now 24 hours since you saw Bexy's new stash of wool, and who'd like to see progress on the project?
So I'm just showing you what I'm making with this yarn, which is a self-striping yarn. I'm going to make a hexi-cardi. So you make 2 hexagons to start with, and they make the body of the cardigan. And it's quite magic because you fold it over like that, and this is half a cardigan. It is for an adult, not a baby, and I'll show you how it develops in future nights.
Crocheting is not an easy task when you've got an attentive greyhound. Stop doing that with that little pin and scratch my ears.
It's a hook, not a pin.
Sorry, hook. Half an evening later, that's how much the one side of this cardigan has developed. Cardigan or jumper?
It's a cardigan.
I'm very impressed. I've just been shown what it's going to look like when it's finished, when there's 2 halves and it's all sewn together, so this is amazing progress. All helped by a very clever thing, which is, I didn't realise you got crochet hooks that were like gadgets with neoprene handles, just for added comfort when you're crocheting. Oh, it's another standoff with De Niro's favourite little friend, the ginger pussycat that just sits and looks at him. It's completely not perturbed. I wonder how perturbed it would be if De Niro got off his lead. Hello pussycat. Hello greyhound.